everyone, and welcome to the Able Voices podcast. I'm Dr. Rhoda Bernard, founding managing director of the Berklee Institute for Accessible Arts Education, and I am proud to present this podcast featuring disabled artists and arts educators. We are inviting artists with disabilities to be guest hosts for the Able Voices podcast. Today's guest host is singer and songwriter Alex James. Alex James is a 25-year-old experienced singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and teacher from the northeast of England. Alex lives with the rare genetic muscle wasting condition Duchenne muscular dystrophy, DMD for short. And although he was diagnosed with this fatal condition at the young age of 4, his determination remains undefeated and he continues to defy the odds. After graduating university with a BA honors degree and master's degree in music and completing a teacher training course to the highest level, Alex took the band he developed during his master's degree and created the one and only DMD-fronted alternative rock band known as Alex James, based in the northeast of England. In the past few years, he has written 3 successful singles, which are left as a legacy for generations to come. Luckily, there is more music and performances coming from Alex very soon, and he looks forward to sharing his experiences as the next guest host of our podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Able Voices podcast. This is your host, Alex James. I'm saddened that this is the finale of my trilogy of episodes as guest host of the show, but I am certain that we will close with a bang today, as I have a very special guest joining us all the way from Berklee in the UK. In today's episode, I will be interviewing the powerhouse Taylor Grace, who leads the hard rock band that your ear holes aren't prepared for. Not Now Norman. We will discuss how Taylor got herself to where she is today and learn about what it is like to be such a talented and fierce musician living with a disability. So hello, Taylor. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Alex. Nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, it's really nice to finally speak face to face.
I've only ever spoken to you via Messenger for the past, how long? I think it's been...
It was lockdown 2020. Now? Yeah, 2020.
That seems like a lifetime ago already.
I know. It's like a moment of life that's just gone by so quickly.
Thankfully.
But we've both done so much in that amount of time. It's unreal.
Oh, I know. It's been amazing.
So I'm going to quickly introduce you to our audience, Taylor. So I'm going to begin this introduction. So,
hey, everybody.
Delivering hard rock with a strong message in every track, Taylor Grace commands the front, belting her lungs out to Xander Brown's relentless riffs. Having disabilities since childhood, Taylor Grace took the decision to turn her pain into power and to the stage. Fiercely independent, Not Now Norman are at the helm of everything, from their sound to their image. Over the years since their formation, they've interacted daily with their fans, creating a strong, loyal fan base that grows by the day. With their new album, It's Not This One, released in November 2022, Not Now Norman's name is set to spread even further. And for those listening over in the States, I reckon they'll be coming for you very soon. Over the years, they have supported several bands, including Follow Deep, Scott Kavanagh, is that right?
Scott Kavanagh.
Scott Kavanagh, Logos, and played many venues across the country, building a solid reputation musically with a huge stage presence to match, which I am yet to see, but I can't wait to attend one of your gigs.
That'd be awesome.
Rise in Newcastle quoted as Not Now Norman, if Jack Daniels and Coke had a soundtrack, Not Now Norman would be it. I saw that and thought that was like really interesting.
Yeah.
Quote.
I thought that was a brilliant quote. I'm like, I'm keeping that forever.
Yeah. So Taylor, I can tell that you show fierce commitment when it comes to your art and showcasing live streams, interacting with fans, consistently performing and releasing new music like No Tomorrow and much more. So can you tell us what ignited this flame within you and how did you get to where you are today?
So I started Not Now Norman mostly because, I mean, as you know, I've got physical disabilities, I've got autism and all that. And I just got out of college and I'd been trying to, look for a job. Unfortunately, people hear the word autism or like they see you limp, the wind changes direction. You start to become very good at picking out why you didn't get the job. And when I could tell it wasn't,
I can relate.
It was to do, when it was to do with my disability, I could just tell.
Yeah, and, you can immediately tell.
Yeah, just I've had people sigh, I've had people tut. One person rolled their eyes at me, like I was wasting their time. So, that really affected my mental health, because it was just like, well, what's the point? And then my mum, she came up and said, get out of bed, your dad's just got some recording equipment. Why don't you start a project, get your confidence back up, and, keep on fighting.
Yeah.
And then we started recording, I think it was Sweet Child of Mine. And my dad stopped halfway through and went, Taylor, you didn't tell me you could sing. You could actually do this for a career, you can start doing music. And I said to him, well, if I'm doing music, I'm writing my own stuff. I'm not sticking to covers.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with doing covers. Nothing wrong with doing that at all.
You just want it to be you.
Oh, exactly. And I had a lot to say, especially to do about disability, and it just took off from there. So in my eyes, Not Now Norman is my job. It's my career. It gives me purpose, and it's just made me a better person as a result.
Well, that is really good. Obviously, you can tell that you've taken that in, and obviously what you've experienced with not getting jobs and stuff, and people rolling their eyes, and obviously being quite aware of your surroundings. Obviously, you wanted to take that in your own direction. So that's kind of where your flame came from. Yeah.
But I want to say to my goal is, if potential employers for anybody come to one of my gigs and they've got an interview and that person happens to be disabled, I want them to think, oh, hang on, I just saw a band last week. The front woman was disabled. She was capable of a lot. Might just give this person a chance.
Yeah. Once they see it, they're like, oh, wait, we were wrong. We were wrong.
Exactly. One thing that did get to me, going back to the disability finding a job thing, is I found plenty of jobs that were more of work experience that didn't pay.
Yeah,
they were happy to take me on then.
Yeah.
But when I said, right, can I have an actual paid position here? They were like, no.
Yeah, that's exactly the same for me. It's just getting nowhere. It's always voluntary. You see the wheelchair and assume it's some kind of hazard.
Right, but they're happy to take you on if you volunteer. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. So how did the band come about? How did you name the band?
Okay, so I've got chickens, got pet chickens, and it's my sister's job to look after them, and she's got autism. She's got more prominent symptoms than I do. But we also had a rooster, a cockerel.
Yeah.
And they are studs.
Yeah.
They are absolute. Like, when you go into the garden, you can feel their eyes narrow at you and just start charging at you. And every time she would go down to feed them, he would chase her, try to attack her. So she would go down to the garden with a broomstick handle, a dustbin lid full of chicken food, and Wellington boots past her knees so he didn't hurt her, and all you heard from the back garden was no. So it's, instead of helping my sister, I thought, I'm going to keep that because that's a good name for something, and it became a bad name. She still hasn't forgiven me. She still gives me the thanks whenever I bring it up.
So she just went, not now, Norman.
Yep. So it's named after a chicken. That's why there's chicken motifs and
I knew that, but obviously the listeners, if they're new to Not Now Norman, because everyone listening's probably over in the States, but that's still good. Potentially you're over there doing full tours across the country.
Well, fingers crossed. That is the goal. That is
eventually,
the goal.
Eventually.
It's a gig out of the UK. That would be pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. So as a musician and frontman myself living with a disability, I'm obviously aware that there are many obstacles and challenges that we face as disabled individuals when pursuing like a career in music. So can you tell us about your experiences as an artist with a disability, and how do you adapt to overcome these challenges and obstacles?
Well, I think the main thing that I have trouble with is mobility. I've got a condition called hereditary multiple exostoses. I have bone tumors growing in all sorts of places in my body, and the pain level can fluctuate a lot. So, for example, every once in a while, my leg lately likes to lock. Sometimes it just spasms so hard I can't move it.
Right. Yeah.
And which is it's quite scary, but especially if you don't know what's going on originally. But one of the things that I've had trouble with is if, say, my leg or my shoulder locks, especially if I'm like mid-performance.
Yeah.
That's quite a challenge for me, especially if I'd say it's worse if I'm mid-performance and, say, for example, my shoulder locks, because I've got to keep going until the end of the show.
Yeah, I get
and I'm
that.
like, this hurts so badly, but you can't show it.
Until afterwards, you're like, oh, the adrenaline wears off.
Oh yeah, that's the worst part. Thank God for adrenaline, because otherwise you'd never be able to get to the end.
No.
But even so, there are some times where I'll like move my shoulder and it'll like pull on the muscle like really, really hard, and it's so painful. I've got to stop myself from going.
You got to sing instead. You got to just put power into your singing.
It's a good thing that if I do like shout in pain, I can add a bit of distortion to it. So if I can control it, people think that it's deliberate.
That's part of the hard rock experience.
Exactly, like that's really not deliberate, but I'm glad you think so. But if my health fluctuates before a gig, it's trying to help get stuff in. That's always a nightmare. Although my dad's actually brought my wheelchair with me a couple of occasions when my leg has spasmed, and I'll be sitting in the car, waiting for all the stuff to get in. He'll be using my wheelchair to load stuff in. So why not?
Yeah, exactly.
So for gigs like that, I'll either have my wheelchair or I'll have like a chair put on the stage, and I've just got to adapt the performance to whatever my body allows me to do.
Reasonable adjustments.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean,
in terms of how my autism affects it, I think it kind of adds to it, because with my lyrics, well, with being autistic, common symptom, you're blunt as hell. You don't beat around the bush. You just say directly what comes into your mind. Yeah, exactly. There's no filter, unfortunately, but I'm able to add that to the lyrics, and people seem to like that.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, there's been a few people that say that, it's very, sassy, in your face. Like, how did you come up with that? And I'm like, I just wrote.
You just wrote and it happened.
Yeah, like I don't actually hear the directness, because that's just how I speak. Everybody else says, no, you're very blunt when it comes to your lyrics. Yeah. So
it's fair enough.
Apparently that adds to it, so I consider it a bonus. Yeah,
it's kind of a positive rather than a negative.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think it's great how you go onto the stage and you kind of appears as if there's nothing wrong, like you haven't got any disabilities and stuff, and you're just kind of kicking your legs up and flinging the mic across the stage. And
well, that's the whole thing with a hidden disability, isn't it? At the end of the day, you can't tell. I often say that everybody, to a degree, is somewhat disabled or will be disabled at some point in their life.
Yeah.
And if you can't tell that I'm disabled, brilliant. That's kind of the whole point. But But remember that in everyday life. So when you see somebody, parking in a disabled spot, and they've got a disabled badge, and you and I both know they're not easy to get, those things.
No.
And you see somebody with a disabled badge, instead of going, you can't park there, maybe think to yourself, why do they have that? It's probably because they're disabled. I'm just going to mind my own business, because I've just seen a band play with a hidden disability, and they were perfectly,
Yeah, I think it's great though, because it's inspiring people like me to also advocate for being in the wheelchair, getting venues to get ramps in place to get us on the stage, because it's a bit make it happen.
It's not that difficult, even if it's just a case of, right, we'll get a makeshift one before we get a proper one so that, they can start raising funds.
It's a bit of wood.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a bit of wood. We're not asking for a red carpet.
No.
Do you know what
I just want to be on the stage so I can do it.
I mean, if they want to include a red carpet, by all means, include the red carpet. But help get people on the stage. I mean, some venues are really good for it.
Yeah.
You phone ahead, you say, look, I've got this, that, and the other. Can you help me get in? Even if it's like not the easiest to access, they'll still help find a way to get you there, get you in, because they're like, well, we hired you at the end of the day. It's our responsibility to get you in. But there are some places that haven't quite got the message.
Yeah, they get a bit awkward, don't they?
Yeah.
Or they just don't reply. They just don't answer you. They just don't do anything. They just go, oh, you can't play. Or she can't play. Or they can't play, in a wheelchair.
Yeah. But it's like, well, clearly I can, because I've just sent you a video showing that I can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just help me, help you, help me. That's
I mean, we're working with Sunderland at the moment, obviously in the UK. And they're trying to work on making all the venues accessible that they can. Because they want me to perform, but there's no access. So they are trying to help. So I'm glad about that, because I've always been halted by a lot of venues or just not replied.
It's not nerve-wracking though as a musician when you're saying to a venue, do you have this, that, and the other? It's nerve-wracking because you do think subconsciously, if I ask this, are they going to be like,
they'll be like, no, we don't want to know. Yeah.
Exactly, and that shouldn't happen. It should be, how there are a bunch of venues, especially ones who have their own sounds. They often ask for a tech spec. It should be something that you could include on the tech spec. By the way, I need a ramp.
That's this long, and
Yeah, a lot of places would provide one if you had a massive Marshall amp.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, load of ramps. It's no different.
Exactly. What's the difference between a Marshall amp and a wheelchair?
Yeah, exactly.
They're both producing noises.
Yeah. So I don't know. Have you had many negative experiences with venues, or?
I think so. To be honest with you, there's all of them have been quite accommodating, especially if I turn up in crutches. A lot of them, come up to me and say, "Are you okay?" Yeah, they do come up to me and say, "I see you're in crutches. Do you need a chair? Are you all right? What's happened?"
So they are accommodating, yeah.
Oh yeah, they are accommodating, but that's not to say that one won't. I'll get to a venue and that's the winning streak over. But so far, they've all been accommodating. Newcastle and Sunderland, they're the places that I tend to gig the most.
Yeah.
They've all been quite good in terms of accessibility. I can't really think of a venue that's been particularly nasty.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it is. There are a couple of venues maybe that might have given me that's mostly because they were quite small. It was quite a small venue, and it was right, okay, how are we going to find the logistics of getting her on? That. But I think
there's always a way though. There's ways to get around it.
Yeah, there is. And I think, to be honest with you, one of the things that tends to happen is I don't really give venues a lot of warning if I'm in a wheelchair or if I'm in crutches. I just turn up in crutches.
Yeah, I'm kind of just show up. Yeah.
So I'm well, you've got no choice but to accommodate us now. I'm here.
Yeah.
So I think that helps quite a bit. But
yeah, definitely. But I think once they see that you have the talent, regardless of who you are, they are accommodating because they realise people want to see them. People want to see Not Down Armand. You've built your fan base. You've done all the work. So why not? Exactly.
I'm going above and beyond. I'm not letting it stop us. And that should reflect on every artist that happens to
exactly. If they put the work
have a disability.
They should. Obviously, you've
Well,
got to
exactly.
say for people who are going to be crap, you know what I mean?
Oh, well, yeah,
Not everyone's going to be good.
exactly.
We had this discussion with I think it was Miss Jackie from London. She was on about the fact that we're all inclusive, we're all people. So
Yeah.
you can have bad ones, you can have good ones, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
inclusivity in its finest.
Yeah. Like, just because you're disabled doesn't make you exempt.
Yeah,
That sort of thing.
Yeah, so it is amazing hearing all about your own unique experiences and the journey you have led with Not Now Norman to become the confident, loud, and sassy musician you are today. Can you tell us a bit about any arts education you have received and how you continue to learn and improve as an artist today?
Well, I don't actually have much of an artist background outside of Not Now Norman. That's the thing. Not Now Norman is my first band.
That is your thing.
I went to a music tutor for a few months.
Yeah.
And that was just to build stamina because I was singing wrong for ages.
Yeah, so you got the help.
The first gig I ever had, I was singing wrong for about 2 hours because it was a public gig. And then a week later, it was my first lesson, and I was like, I really need help learning how to sing. And she was like, yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, so you kind of went down the tutor route to try and improve.
Well, just to build some stamina so that I can sing.
Yeah, build the stamina, yeah. Especially the belting that you do. you know?
Yes. I am a noisy singer. I am a very noisy singer.
Very hard rock.
Yeah. Well, my dad keeps saying that it's because, since I was a baby, I've been shouting at him. So that's why I'm such a noisy person, which is probably true. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But I find it more cathartic to sing loudly. I can't sing quieter, but I find it quite. It's not as fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more fun when you're belting some or screaming a bit of the track, bit of screamo.
Yeah, I'd love to actually be able to do screamo.
Yeah.
People say that I can do distortion, and I probably can, but I don't think I'm doing it properly. Certainly not to a degree of Bring Me the Horizon or anything like that.
I know at some point. Do you ever find like at some point in your like rehearsal, you just end up like changing your voice a bit, and you're like, "Whoa, what did I just do?" And you're just like,
"Well, at rehearsal, in rehearsal, I don't move about a lot.
Right,
I actually I rehearse sitting down.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'll do like the upper body movements when I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
But I don't like move around a lot when I'm rehearsing. And to be honest with you, I often say to myself that if I can't perform sitting down, I can't perform.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if, as I say, there's been quite a few gigs where I can't stand up. I'm like, well, I still need to entertain people.
Yeah, you need to make sure you can still do it. Obviously, I sit down all the time, so it makes no difference. But
well, it's also like sometimes we'll rehearse the day before a gig. And I'm like, well, if I move around a lot, I am not going to be able to make the gig.
Yeah,
I am not going to be able to last the entire weekend. So I'm just going to rein it in a bit,
So you've kind of learned to like keep everything. Obviously, management of like stamina and stuff, as you were saying.
Yeah. I've learned my limits. I've learned, what to do in certain situations. When I'm at gigs, I'll make sure to take all my painkillers and.
Oh yeah.
And the wonderful cocktail of codeine and paracetamol and ibuprofen.
Oh, your little bits.
Yeah.
Until it all wears off.
Yeah, until it all wears off by the end of the night. And
the next day,
I'm in bed going, ow.
You feel that as well, because every time I come home after a rehearsal, next day I'm like, what?
Yeah. My body's like, you are going to regret that. I'm going to make sure you regret that.
I'm like, Mom, I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah. Well, when I get home, I know this isn't eco-friendly, but if I get home from a gig and I'm in a particular amount of pain, I'll have like the electric blanket on to kind of ease my muscles. or if that doesn't work, I'll have like I'll be in like a hot bath or something like that. Something that eases the muscles and kind of helps them to relax a little bit more, so I'm in a bit less pain tomorrow. And then I get to do it all again the next day. And then the adrenaline kicks in, painkillers, a lot. So that's the secret.
Yeah, so you've kind of learnt your own routine kind of thing to improve as an artist.
Yeah.
So on November 2022, we know that Not Now Norman released a brand new album called It's Not This One. Could you tell us a bit more about this album? So how did you come up with the name? What are the concept of the songs? And if you have any main influences, who were them?
The name it was actually a joke, the name. So going to a story behind the track Shut Your Mouth. I've had, I don't have good taste in men. And my previous ex was not a nice person. He was quite horrible to me. In fact, he's physically assaulted me in the past. And he previously we had a completely different logo. And during the lockdown, we had these live streams we did, and there was like a quiz and a competition saying, if you win the competition, you get a free T-shirt with our logo on it. And of course, the old logo was right behind us, and I would go, "It's not this one. It's not this logo. We don't like this logo." And I would say this, quite a few times until my friend Jack Nassau, he gave us a brand new logo, which I love. It's brilliant. And then took that logo down, put the new one up, and went, "It's this one. It's this one."
It's not that one. It's this one.
So that's it. It became a bit of a joke, and people were on the live streams were saying that better be the name for your debut album. And I thought, you know what? Why not? Why not? Let's take that one. Somebody suggested that I should call it It's This One, but I thought that doesn't flow as well. I prefer the flow of It's Not This One. So that's what the name came about. The concept for the album, it's mostly autobiographical.
About you.
Yeah, pretty much. About past relationships, about being bullied in school, about disabilities, social media, all sorts of things. It's just how I've processed everything that's happened in the past few years, and it's just come out in an album.
Yeah, it is great.
As for influences, every song's different, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint, but I would say that our influences are Pretty Reckless, Joan Jett,
right, yeah.
Black Sabbath, bit of
Good
Pink.
old Ozzy.
Yeah, love Ozzy.
I do too.
Guns N' Roses, like the early stuff.
Yeah.
And I would also say like a lot of, indie artists, like in our circle sort of thing, like every artist that I've met as, every artist that I've met that I've gigged with, that I've collaborated with, or just ones that I've just seen their name and thought, oh, they're quite good. They've all had like something to offer.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I feel like local artists are quite influential as well. Because you go see them and you're like, oh, let's try that. Exactly.
And I think the Northeast's music scene is very rich.
It is.
Like it should be hyped up a lot more than it actually is. I mean, it's hyped up quite well in Newcastle, but it needs to be hyped up more.
Yeah, I think people over in the States should come over to Newcastle and the northeast of England to experience this scene. Yep.
I mean, Newcastle's an experience in of itself. It's a brilliant city. Yeah. You'll love it. There's something for everyone.
So I was going to say, is there a particular track you would like the listeners to hear from your backlog?
Yeah, so I would say Little Frankenstein. That was the first song that I released. I re-released it. It's about it's about any disability really, but especially if you've got one that really hinders your mobility and causes you to have a lot of surgeries.
Yeah.
Like a Frankenstein monster.
Like you're being put together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I really do like that song. It is a really good sound. Obviously, the voice complements it well.
Very much.
So let's give the listeners a listen.
You will look at my dimples, think I'm all so simple. Sitting in this chair, you say you don't know how I get up in the morning. Do you really think I care? The endless rotations of empty placations, I'm getting jaded to the core. Sympathetic faces all on the surface. Why don't you fuck off right out the door? I can be your little Frankenstein. Come and join me in the pantomime.
So that was Little Frankenstein by Not Now Norman. You can check out the rest of their tracks available on all streaming services. So Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all your normal streaming services. They also have a website you can check out at www.notnownorman.com, where you can check out everything Taylor Grace and Not Now Norman, the music, merch, videos, links, newsletters, basically the lot. So to finish off, Taylor, what message/advice would you give to other emerging artists, especially those with disabilities?
I would say that don't hold back, really.
Yeah.
One bit of advice is try not to stay still. Try not to
I'll try to be as
be as big as you can be as memorable as possible, but also do it in a way that makes it you.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Look back at what you thought was cool when you were a teenager, what you wanted to be as a teenager, and just think, right, that's who I'm going to be.
You don't have to be an adult. You don't have to be this.
We're musicians. We're not
particular
adults.
person. No, exactly. Definitely not. A musician is a different kind of breed.
Yes. We don't grow up. We are eternally childish.
I think it's great when we look back, though, because we could see where we've come from. And then we realise we've done all this work. We've put our commitment and passion into the music. And now we're here on stage looking fabulous. And obviously you've got the great makeup and stuff. And
thank you. Going back to the advice, another bit of advice is be humble as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't be one of those musicians that think that they are, just because they got a few compliments of people, that they're better than everybody else. Don't be that musician. Like that, no. Because if you become that musician, you are not the best. Okay, you are not good. That immediately goes out the door.
Need respect for everyone.
Exactly. Be respectful. Cheer everybody on. We're all going for the same goal.
Yeah, I love that.
So, be part of everybody's journey and just cheer everybody on. Even if you think, oh, I wish that was me. Well, make that your next goal, but still cheer that person on. Be happy for people.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's a good message to end on. So thank you, Taylor, for being on the Able Voices podcast. Yeah, would you like to share any socials where the listeners can keep up to date with all things Taylor and Not Now Norman?
Yeah, so you can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all social media platforms at Not Now Norman or now_Norman if you want to follow us on Twitter. We've also got merchandise on Bandcamp, so if you want to support the band, buy t-shirts, buy albums and hoodies and stuff like that, please go into our Bandcamp. And
nice hoodies.
Oh yeah, they're nice and cozy, but they're only I get them during winter just to save on space. If you want a hoodie, message me and I'll get you one.
We'll get us one for Christmas.
Yes.
So thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in to the Able Voices podcast. This has been your guest host Alex James, and it has once again been a pleasure to guest host this trilogy of episodes. And you can check out more news on Alex James on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all it's me, Alex James. Thank you and goodbye.
Able Voices is a production of the Berklee Institute for Accessible Arts Education, led by me, Dr. Rhoda Bernard, the founding managing director. It is produced by Daniel Martinez del Campo. The intro music is by Kai Levin, and our closing song is by Sebastian Batista. Kai and Sebastian are students in the arts education programs at the Berklee Institute for Accessible Arts Education. If you would like to learn more about our work, find us online at berkeley.edu/BIAAE or email us at BIAAE@berkeley, that's LEE.edu.